The Sock Jig Sneaker Podcast is your emotional support sneaker podcast. Welcome to episode 87 of the Sock Jig Sneaker Podcast. I'm your host, Sock Jig. You can follow me on Twitter at Sock Jig and on Instagram and Blue Sky as well. Today we have a guest, my friend Doug, also known as Magnum Dong 1992. I've been meaning to have him on for a while where we could talk about sneakers and fashion and his Twitter and his tweets about hating Ronnie Fieg and hating Kith. And then all of a sudden one day he got a package in the mail and it was a sample Air Force One pair from Ronnie Fieg himself to his biggest hater. So we talk about that. We talk about some of his tweets. And we also talk about the loss of our friend Dan McQuade. Rest in peace, Dan McQuade, a little bit at the end. And this segment of the recording, the bulk of this episode, was recorded on Saturday, February 7th. So at that point, he had just got the sneakers and he didn't know what he was going to do with them. And we talk about that. And then a couple days later, while I was still kind of, mulling when I can release this episode, more news broke out that Whorehead Sales from Twitter got the pairs and he was posting them. And eventually Doug had to talk about how he sold his pair. So we jumped on a call the other night, February 11th at nighttime, and recorded like a 10-minute epilogue at the end. So both sides are covered kind of before and after. And we had sort of in the first part talked about some of the backlash that he was getting and then a lot more that he got afterwards after it was known that he was selling the pair. So there's a lot more to the story that you may have known if you just saw a tweet here and there, if you don't even know who Doug is or have seen some of his tweets over the years, and then you might not be in on the joke. So we kind of talk about it. We talk about having a sense of humor and the approach that he had and give you the full kind of context. And of selling the pair, there's more to that story as well too that Doug talks about. So I hope you give it a chance. I hope you enjoy the episode. And I've been meaning to come back and record an episode. It's been last couple of months I haven't recorded. It's been probably the longest hiatus I've taken on this podcast. So I'll have a new episode out very soon. But in the meantime, let's kick off this episode and talk to my friend Doug. My guest today is well known on sneaker and fashion Twitter for his love of pants, his profile photo of a guy in a Perk 30 jersey, and for being the most prolific and detailed hater of Kith and Ronnie Fieg. Please welcome my friend Doug, also known as Magnum Dong 1992. Doug, how's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, how's it been lately for you?
Currently public enemy number one for every single person that has a Kith membership. Otherwise, going pretty well.
What is your Kith loyalty tier at these days?
I have 600 points, so whatever that is. I don't even think I qualify for the initial membership. Yeah, I think I have the points from like if you sign up and they throw you 500 and then it's
Right.
like 100 for verifying your email. So
okay, so we'll talk about the Kith stuff. First, I want to talk about Twitter. Your profile picture is a guy in a Perk 30 jersey, and everyone thinks that's actually you. Is that you?
of course it's me, if that's what you want to believe. No, that's not me. That picture, I don't know where it came from, but I thought it was hilarious, and so I've had it for forever. And ever since every single time someone gets into like an argument with me, they go for the picture.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh man, it's like a master class in baiting people, and so it's just stayed.
I remember it as a meme long time ago, and it's kind of faded off as a meme and just almost been like permanently known as your profile picture only.
Yeah, I think I saw one recently, and it was someone had taken my own meme, which was like the Charlie Kirk face on my own profile picture, and I was like, "What's going on here? Who are you, and why?" This is Doug Stolen Valor. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, nope, that's not me.
My favorite part is if you actually like open it up and look at it, you can sort of tell that the guy has like a ponytail and stuff at the back too,
Yeah.
which just makes it like so much better.
Yeah, it's just like a random guy in a Perk 30 jersey in a Midwest bar with a ponytail and a Truly.
Yeah.
That guy probably rocks in real life. I wish I was him.
The other thing that you're known for on Twitter, well, we'll get to some of your tweets a little bit later as well too, is some of your tweets have been written as a 44-year-old white guy. Are you a 44-year-old white guy?
Spiritually, yes. Physically, no. I'm a about to be 34-year-old Mexican guy.
Born in Mexico, real Mexican guy, right?
Real Mexican guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
With a little with a little immunization scar and everything.
right, right. Yeah, my mom has that too. I don't. I was born in Canada. Okay, so I have some warm up tweets. I was going to call this episode Terrorizing the Timeline with Doug.
Hmm.
So I have some tweets that you've sent out that sometimes they go viral, like very viral, and sometimes it's just, this is just funny stuff that happens. Okay, so the first one that I found was you had tweeted putting on some Rick Owens on the company card. I feel like at Ruhigi, which is the guy from Rude, if you don't know. And he was in like whatever, some controversy where he put some stuff on the corporate card or whatever it is, and there's like some lawsuits and stuff about it. And and he replied to you. I'm gonna read the reply to you. Yo, Doug, as that one little meme said, if you can't call me, you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. Please don't bump this and make it seem like we're beefing. I can't call you, so I'd be a fool not to live by my own words. How did you get Ruhigi to like answer you to get mad at you for putting things on the company card? Rick Owens
Uh,
on the company card.
so he had blocked me previously. In the past, I had always just, like memed him and just like tweeted at him, and he had blocked me, right? So I didn't tag him in this or anything, and then randomly he unblocked me to reply, and it
Right.
was hilarious. And I think I quote tweeted him back, calling him like "my bad, biggest bro" or something, and he
Yeah.
has not blocked me since. But it's just I don't know, just just me in typical humor, just poking fun at someone for allegedly, while the company is like going under, putting $65,000 worth of Rick Owen pants on the company card.
Right.
Employees not getting paid, allegedly.
Allegedly. I forgot to add the allegedly
Yeah,
on
of
there.
course, I saved you.
Thank you for saving me.
You're welcome.
Okay, another one. There's another incident that happened where you said, these are the people that you're losing to on sneakers. And it was just a guy in like reimagined threes and khaki shorts or something like that.
Super
Um,
short shorts.
yeah, yeah, super. Where he's got like
Yeah,
some like bird tattoo, like coming out of the bottom of his on his thighs or whatever.
killer
And this
Kaz.
one went like super viral as well too. What was the response that you got to this tweet?
Everything short of death threats. Um, yeah, it went like very viral, and it was like not the kind of viral that I wanted it to go. And oh man, people were super mad. And it's like, what was my favorite thing? Oh, I think that's the one that I got blocked from like a ton of people because there was a while where I would go to look at, I would go to like other people's pages
Right.
from replies and stuff, and it was just like a mess, blocking of, from other people. But yeah, that one, I don't do those anymore just because people get really upset at those. Everything's fair game besides, these are the fair people you lose sneakers raffles to.
The same thing. There was another one. I didn't dig that one up. It was about jogger pants, where you're making fun of people who wear jogger pants, and the jogger pants community got really mad at you as well too.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to figure out how there's so many people that are still into jogger pants, besides toddlers in the year 2025, 26. My son wears them. Big fan of jogger pants. They're really easy to put on. But as a grown man, I think we can do better. I think we can move past that. But no, whatever goes best with Gamma 11s.
That's something you can anger people if you say you don't like 11s, and it's like you just slapped them in the face.
Yeah, it's like the most common reply I get. It's like that this is some kind of psyop where it's like this guy actually loves Gamma 11s and he's just using reverse psychology to end up with the pair for himself. No, I promise you, I don't want Gamma 11s.
Okay, this is a tweet you sent. It said, by the way, if any corporate sponsor brand wants to wine and dine me, I will literally commit atrocities to protect your brand image and fight for your honor until the end. And then someone tagged John Geiger in this, in which John Geiger replied, quote, he's a well-known bum. And then a whole bunch of those crying emojis. Are you are you a well-known bum?
I am whatever a corporation, brand, or entity wants me to be. I am malleable. I am ready to serve. I will push any narrative that you want me to. But no, that was funny because I think I told you, I was like, oh, I thought he was calling himself a bum. And you were like, no, brother, he was calling you a bum. I was like, oh, okay. Damn.
All right, and then the last one here. This is one from a while back, but I know the lore of this tweet, but I'm gonna ask you to explain it. You quote tweeted someone who posted a selfie, a mirror selfie, where it shows off her, you know, ass, and you said, quote, I would pay $6,000 to be trapped in an elevator you farted in, end quote. So what why is this tweet important?
This is the only tweet I've ever gotten in trouble for. I think I was like sitting playing video games, and my wife came up behind me and she like tapped me on the shoulder. So I turn around, and with tears in her eyes, has the tweet. She's like, "What is this? What who is this woman?" And I had to explain to her, "Hey, honey, this is my Twitter, and this is, I had to explain all the lore." And then after that, she has not cared since. I was like, this was a joke. This is just me being an idiot. Uh, Note that those posts do not happen anymore.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that ended on October 9th, 2020. That's when that ended.
Yeah, no horny posts since 6 years clean of any horny posts.
Yeah.
We might change that this year. We'll see.
Okay. Obviously, like you're probably trying to explain to your wife, this is a Twitter persona. I'm just having fun on Twitter. Which leads us to like the reason why I wanted to get you on here is because you're well known. Like I called you a prolific Ronnie Fieg and Kith hater, and you've had many Kith tweets as well too. Um, is that part of the persona, or do you legit hate Ronnie Fieg and Kith?
I think those must have been AI because I have never said anything negative of the sort of Kith, Ronnie Fieg, its affiliates, and anybody who works for that company. Hold on, I'm reading. I ran out of hand space to read the rest of my statement. Um, no, I have no ill will towards any of those guys. It's a bit, it's like it's not for me, and people get hung up on that, like, oh, just because he's making fun of this, this, and this, that means he's making fun of the people that wear it. No, not really. It's it's a bit, not for me. Enjoy it, whomever you are. It's an easy slam dunk. When there's a Muppets onesie for grown men being sold for $200.
Right. And honestly, it's like on Twitter these days or on social media, anywhere, even Instagram, either you are doing marketing, like a part of a brand, you're a brand owner or you work there or whatever, or like you're a content creator, which in case you want a brand deal and you want to work there and do things. And there's very few people out there who are just doing it for the love of the game or just having fun on Twitter on like their, joke Twitter account, like you and I kind of do. And so I think that's where the big difference is, where people get so upset in that, like, how could you hate something that people like and are like super into, right? And they don't realize that you got like no skin in the game. You got no reason to, get a brand deal from uh, John Geiger or Kith as well.
Um, yeah, it's like, I've been told in the past, and as corny as it sounds, like, keep being you, keep using your voice. Um, it's like I think I started this account just like screaming into the void on random things, and then it's like eventually, some of the things that I was screaming into the void resonated with some people. So I think it's super important to just say what you want to say within reason, right? It's not hurting anyone. It's like none of my tweets have ever actually hurt anyone, right? I think. I hope. I guess we'll find out one day.
Right. Hurt their
But
feelings, but not like physically, like,
oh,
yeah.
come on.
Or like
It's
hurt
like
their work or something, right?
yeah. Well, they probably had it coming. But yeah, it's like you have to you it's like if you can, it's so fun to just say something and not be inhibited by, like, oh crap, I hope I don't mess up my Under Armour sponsorship by saying that these suck ass, or posting, a video reply or something. So it's cool for me to just, like you said, I don't have any skin in the game. So I can pretty much say what I want when I want. And man, it's worked out. Like I don't have like an end goal for this account. But it's worked out. There's been a lot of cool things that have happened since I've been screaming into the void, and I don't plan on doing that with any kind of corporate censor, unless anyone out there with a brand deal wants me to.
I think this is where like you and I get along so well because we have a similar sense of humor and we're both like just kind of, like I said, doing it for the love of the game. And that way both of us can like say things, and like we do it in different ways, right? Yours are often very much more sharper. Mine, sometimes I go long on the podcast, but I'll have zingers and here and there on Twitter as well too, right? Um, and yeah, like I was saying, there's just like, I don't know, this how just how the internet used to be, when we were there, and you probably, I assume you feel the same way.
Oh God, it's like you used to just go on like Hypebeast forum or like KTT or Superfuture, and you'd post an outfit, and you would get called atrocities for that outfit, and it was like you were building armor. Like, oh man, maybe my fit was trash. Maybe next time I won't do that or whatever. And it was just fun. It's like it's like I grew up playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and other online games where I mean there was no filter for what you would be called, and it's like you got to be able to take a joke. You have to have a sense of humor. The world, for not for all, but for most sucks right now. So it's like humor's good. It's like you have to be able to be to laugh at yourself. Um, I don't know. Can't be so
Even Nike,
serious all the time.
even Nike Talk, they had the NT denim hashtag and stuff. Like they were in on the joke as well too when someone posted bad jeans and a pair of Gamma 11s or something, right?
Hmm.
All right. So what is specifically is the problem with Kith? That like some of these, I have a bunch of tweets about collabs that they do. Um,
Hmm.
okay, here's one. They have Ronnie Fieg hooked up to a machine somewhere underground in New York City and is shocking him up until he comes with a collab every week. That's also a good one. Oh, this is a good one that the blogs picked up on this week too. This is how Ronnie Fieg probably feels when he drops another dog shit collaboration and it sells out. And it's the gator doing the dunk with Jesus watching. What is it with Ronnie Fieg and collabs and Kith and collabs?
Well, it's like if most people when they let's say, oh man, I really want a new Porsche or something. And most people, they move around, they work, they start saving up, they sell assets, whatever it may be. But Ronnie Fogg has the position where he can just go out there and he can have a Chips Ahoy collab, and he can just put it together, ship it off, and it's gonna sell out. And he has a new Porsche. It's like it's an infinite money glitch. Good for
Yeah.
him.
My disclaimer is like, I don't buy a lot of Kiss stuff. I have some
Hmm.
items here and there. I buy more of their sneakers and stuff, like the clothing. Sometimes it's like I'm 6'2" as well too, and the new cuts are like boxy, so I just give them to my nephew. And so it's like I don't want to look with my gut hanging out or anything. But my disclaimer is I don't have any issues with Ronnie. And people will, like I said, they just love marketing. They love that he's making something for us, just us, right? And so I think that's where these like numbers of collabs come out. He's just cranking out a shit ton of these collabs lately, and it seems like he's doing it because he can, and he knows that they will like baseline sell out, I guess, or even if they don't sell out, they're probably profitable. What do you think? Is that the thing? It's just the number of collabs that he's doing every week?
But first of all, I think you said you were 6'2". I'm 6'3", by the way, for all the viewers,
No, you are not.
all the listeners at home. I'm
No.
6'3", 6'3". So just putting that out there.
How many? Come on, how many Mexicans have you seen that are 6'3"? Hold on, I'll cut that part out.
No, but I think that what you had said, that there's just this quantity of collabs, and it's because you can. Like I think this week, for example, I know there was more than one, but there was a Mephisto, right? Which is a
Walking shoe.
it's a French walking shoe, right? And it's caught a lot, a decent amount of steam, and it's like more often than not, they're late to the party, I guess, in a sense. It was pretty big last year. Well, pretty big within the eclectic pants group, community, I guess. But you have all these collabs, and one thing that I'll say about Kith that might, that is kind of, I guess, praise is there's something for everyone, right? The average Kith person, might be really into like the nostalgia stuff that they do. Like, it's like you really like, I don't know, they just did Marvel versus Capcom, right?
Marvel, Sopranos, he's talked about like one thing I actually respect a lot about him is that he only does the nostalgia stuff for when he grew up, for the stuff he actually has nostalgia for. Like it's unlikely, it seems like he won't do a Pokemon one, because he didn't grow up in that era when Pokemon became a thing. So at least he's consistent on that part. But yeah, there's a lot of the the layup Marvel or Soprano stuff as well too.
Mhm. I think you're wrong about that. I'm sure we'll see some kind of post about like I remember sitting on my stoop with my Game Boy Advance playing Pokemon Ruby and
That's
Sapphire.
Daniel Arsham. Like I said, I was so pissed off about Daniel Arsham because he's my age and he pretends he knows Pokemon. It's like, fuck, you
Yeah,
were in university, dude. You did not know Pokemon in 1999.
that guy is the "How do you do, fellow kids?" with the Buscemi meme, but
Yeah,
personified as a human being.
but
Yeah.
basically, but the same the point is ends up being the same in terms of that it's commerce and it will sell out and he can make money doing it, and that's why he does it.
Mhm.
With footwear, like you said, with Mephisto, I totally get it when it comes to footwear because he does seem like he is like a product like fiend, like footwear guy, and he's worked with practically like every footwear brand. So I don't know, but like he's done like I think he even have a pair of the Solomons or something that he's done, right? So from Puma to Adidas to Nike, I guess, and so maybe he wants to like go do French walking shoes now.
Do you know that I have a pair of the Solomons?
Oh, do you think I haven't researched for this episode?
This
I've
this
been
is
like
starting
digging
to
digging up your tweets.
this is like a Nardwar interview right
Yeah.
now. How did you get this?
What'd your wife
Who are
say
you?
about this tweet about farting in the elevator?
Um, no, it's like, some of the Kiss stuff is good. I'll say that. But it's like, okay, for me, Kith is like when you go to the thrift store and you have to dig through a sea of bullshit to find that gem. And every once in a while, it's there, but it's far and few in between. For me.
I think that's like the part where, in terms of like, how just how the world is now, in terms of this like casino capitalism world are in now, where that's the number that works for him, but would not work for anyone else, right? Like if Joe Freshgoods or someone else started doing weekly collabs, it would like fall apart quick. But for Ronnie Fieg, he's built himself up to the point in his stores and his brand where he can crank that out, and his customers that he's created appreciate that.
Mhm.
All right, let's see what else. Some of the ones that you have here. Ralph Lauren. There's lots of comparing Kith to Ralph Lauren. Some tweets that you've had comparing Kith to Ralph Lauren and its sublabels is blasphemous. It's insane to spend your money on Kith, ALD, or Buck Mason. I don't even know who Buck Mason is. When Ralph Lauren is right there doing everything they do but better. 25, you will never be Ralph Lauren. Go to hell, Polo Bar knockoff. I think that was for like the Kith Cafe or something that he did.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think I don't know. I saw that one on the most recent things with the Air Forces and the emojis that I chose just for I think my favorite part of that whole thing. The two middle fingers with the crying.
Oh, yeah. So what is it about Ralph Lauren? Everyone's trying to chase Ralph Lauren. Can anyone ever catch Ralph Lauren?
First and foremost, Ralph Lauren, my goat. If anyone from Ralph Lauren's listening, I will do anything to be part of the team. Anything. No, I think that Ralph Lauren is like one of those things where there's been they're always they're always ahead even when they're not, in the sense that there's been times where with either poor management or poor people they've brought on board, it falls kind of behind, and most people know Ralph Lauren for their polo shirts, right? And the average person knows Ralph Lauren as stuff you get at Macy's, you get an outlet mall, but they make really cool things. And I'll say that like brands like ALD will see those really cool things and then make their own version of it, and then people will see the ALD version and they'll be like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" But it's a polo nod. I don't think anyone could be Ralph Lauren. I mean, you've got like Double RL, which is my personal favorite. I love Double RL, and then you've got other stuff like Purple Label, which is for the real, the high end stuff.
Purple Label is
Um,
Japan only,
no, you're
or is
thinking
that
of Purple Label
no?
North
That's
Face.
North Face. Sorry,
Yeah,
Purple
no,
Label
Purple.
and RL are the luxury end of Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, double RL. Yeah, it's like
Double R,
your
yeah.
your your cowboy cosplay stuff. Um, but I don't know. Ralph is just really cool, and I think that like you could go out and thrift an entire old Ralph Lauren outfit and wear it today, and it would still look pretty modern to what's coming out.
It's got like an actual like point of view, right? And whereas I guess what you're saying in these tweets are. It's like the others are don't have their own point of view. They're chasing someone else's point of view, right?
Yeah, it's like, Polo Bar exists, and I've never been, but I'm aware of it. And you have like this almost like this playbook that sometimes feel like it's being copied by Kith, but at the same time, I mean, people are not nearly as fanatical about polo as they are about Kith. And it's like,
Well, and obviously in the black community in like the 90s and stuff, there's a huge like polo fanatic community as well in
yeah,
terms of like the the polo heads.
the low heads.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like most people ages, I don't know, 20 to 35 are probably more into Kith and ALD right now than they are polo. I could be totally wrong. I could be speaking out of my butt right now. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that polo is there and it's always going to be there. Dig into it. There's a lot of good stuff they have. And then you mentioned Buck Mason. Buck Mason's like this recent brand that they have some good stuff. They have I think they're field spec t-shirts. Pretty good t-shirts, right? But and there was a lot of people defending them in the comments. But I don't know.
On that tweet.
Sometimes I have these thoughts and I just like fire them off and then they go viral and I'm like, oh god, now I have to reply to nerds online about this. I have to defend my standpoint or my opinion.
um that's what happened. That's Twitter, right? Okay, and so okay, there's one about Kith stores as well too, and kind of what you talked about. I think Kith has ALD hasn't so much because they've kind of almost leaned more the luxury high price things, but then they put everything on sale at the end of the season. But their stuff was more affordable in the past. Whereas Ronnie Fieg, like you said, makes something for everyone. Has stuff that's like that might have been a $60 t-shirt is now like an 85 $90 t-shirt or something. Um, all the way to like stuff that's like semi luxury, but he hasn't like gone like the full kind of luxury tilt, I think. And so, like I said, that's the path probably created by Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, and like Ronnie has I don't know what it's called, but I know he has a certain set of collabs. They're like the really high end stuff. Like he had an Orly collab, and then he also did a Giorgio Armani
Yeah,
collab pretty recently.
a
And
lot
it's
of
like,
the Japanese brands. I'm forgetting the names of those Japanese stores that he had like Asics shoes with as well too.
yeah, I mean, it's like I'm sure that we'll see an a press A collab, this year or whatever else is remotely popular, and we'll see that too. But it's like I always feel like it's almost like a waste of effort because the people that are into those brands are just gonna get it from the most of those people that have that stuff aren't into Kith, but I can see the value and where most of the time they are, the MSRP is a little bit lower, so it's almost like entry point items for people that might want to dip their toes into these brands. So I guess they serve a purpose, but
Um. Okay, listen. Game show idea. Ronnie Fieg and Ben Baller walk into a room. This is another tweet I'm reading. Ronnie Fieg and Ben Baller walk into a room and are asked to reminisce about a random subject. First one to out bullshit the other one how they made blank into something wins. The plot twist is nobody ever fucking wins and they just go into an endless loop. I would watch that game show, Ben Baller and Ronnie Fieg out bullshitting each other and reminiscing.
yeah,
Um,
I think Ben would win that after refute. Ronnie is kind of like pulled away from that. It's like I think my first Kith jokes were, I remember when I was on my stoop and I was dreaming of a Sprite hoodie collab.
right, right.
But Ben will like generally come out of nowhere and someone will talk about I don't know Labubu and he's like, I was at the factory when they made the very first Labubu. I was right there.
Right.
I actually created them.
They modeled them off me.
Yeah, they're actually
Right.
modeled off me.
Yeah.
Can I prove it? No. Do you have to believe me? Of course. Allegedly.
I remember when you used to do the Ronnie Fieg tweets, and I would say the key to the joke is the word stoop. You got to say the word sitting on the stoop. And
Yeah,
that
it's
is
like I just imagine just a child, like I said, a childhood Ronnie just closing his eyes and man, I wish I had a Fruity Pebbles collab, or man, I really hope one day when I'm in my 40s I have a Marvel collab.
hey, if you always love Snap Crackle Pop and you want to do a collab when you're 45, now's the time. Okay, so this leads up to like kind of what happened here. Like I said, I've been wanting to get you on to talk like fashion stuff and the Kith tweets as well too. So how did you find out you're getting something?
You mean like with the recent Air Force thing?
Yes, the Air Force thing. So
Okay,
if
so
people don't know, Ronnie Fieg sent you a pair of Air Force Ones that are like these rare sample pair of the recent collab that they did with Nike for the kids collection, but they made some sample pairs for adult sizes only for himself and his friends, I guess. And so he sent you probably his personal pair because I think he's the same size as you.
yeah, 10.5.
Yeah, 10 and a half. Okay, so what is the lead up to that? What is the public doesn't know? Like, how did you find out you're getting something? And what did you think?
So I, it's like if you go on Reddit or any social media, there's a decent amount of people that say this is just a giant PR stunt. How could this man have gotten this guy's address? This isn't possible. Why would he do this?
Yeah, because
Why would
online, you're just known as Doug. You don't really put your name or face out there to because, like I said, we no skin in the game, nothing to sell, right? We just do
Yeah,
it because we like tweets. We like tweeting about bullshit.
yeah, exactly. So I got a notification in the FedEx app and it said K25 warehouse. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I didn't buy anything online this week. Um, I don't know what this is. So then I Googled it, and then it was like the building where I think the one of the Kith stores at, but it was like the headquarters number. And I was like, oh God. And the dimensions at the time were like 28 by 24 by 6 and 30 pounds. And I was like, oh my God, this is how it ends. This is gonna be a Kith branded, bomb or something. And I think I texted you and I was like, what the hell is this? And then I finally made the connection of, the previous, day or two earlier, someone had messaged me. I'm not going to name them for for their privacy. And they were like, hey man, I'm working on this project. What's your info and your shoe size? So I sent it to him, right? Person in the community that, is trusted. And next thing I knew, I
You
think
like
like
you had no clue. You were like, "What is
no,
this?
literally
What
no
could
idea.
it
Had no
be?"
idea what it was. I think you literally were like, "You idiot!" That when
No,
I
no.
made the
But
connection
before
that
that, people have probably seen our interactions on Twitter. You're probably one of the only people I ever bully on Twitter, right? And it continues in the iMessages as well too.
yeah,
I was like, oh man, it's over. It was nice knowing you. Sorry, this is happening. There's an
yeah,
EMP on the way. It's got what else could it be?
yeah, yeah. What else could possibly be 30 pounds and from Kith overnighted? Um,
Oh, I think I said it was a glitter bomb with like all the glitter is all just tiny little Kith logos. So like you're just covered in Kith logos.
yeah, on a good day. So no, I had no clue. I had literally absolutely no clue that this was going to happen. And so I had a bunch of meetings the next day, and so it got delivered, and I had my wife courageously open this unknown package from Kith that I had
Like,
no clue of.
do me a favor and open this
But
package and
yeah,
film yourself, please.
yeah, do it on FaceTime. This legitimately happened while I'm in the safety, dozens of miles away. I appreciate your sacrifice. I told her after the fact, and she's like, I cannot believe you had no clue what it was. What if it was something not good? I was like, well, we would have crossed that bridge, I guess. So
At
she
least I
opens
would
it
have been
up.
safe.
Yeah, I would have been okay. So, thank you for your service. So she opens it up and she says, it says Kith Nike. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? I was like thinking in my head, I was like, Kith doesn't have anything with Nike going on. And she's like, it's a pair of shoes. But before that, there's a little stationary note. This is from the desk of Ronnie Fieg. And it said, you know, don't forget to hate on these, RF. And he sent me the friends and family um, forces.
Crocodile,
And
like the darker crocodile one, right?
yeah, it's like a super, super dark green. It looks black in photos, but it's a very dark green. It's a decent shoe. Like it looks good. So I thought, oh, maybe they're releasing, right, or something. But then she showed me the side of the box, and I didn't include that on the pictures just because I know that like sometimes like fake makers will copy the colorway and then they know the
Right.
exact colorway.
Yeah.
And it
Good point.
also and it also had the person who ordered the shoe or who requested it. It says requested by. So for privacy reasons, I kept that covered. But I
It'll
was
say
like,
like
oh
the
man,
factory it was made in and stuff as well too, right?
Yeah, I had the factory it was made in, the person who requested it, the colors, like the style, and then like the shoe size at the bottom.
And
Um, but
usually
I,
samples are only made in like 9.5 or 9 or something. And this one, like I said, it was probably Ronnie's personal pair because it was rare that you see samples in random sizes like 10.5.
yeah, made in Vietnam as well, which I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I didn't think that Nike did a lot of stuff in Vietnam these days. I could be wrong, like I said. But yeah, so I was like, oh crap, these are probably his personal pair that he sent. And I ended up actually canceling my meetings to drive home to check them out.
You're
Um,
like, clear the slate. I gotta go home.
yeah, it's like everyone else fuck off. I've got something to do. So I drove home and I had actually like called a couple homies and told them um, about it. And I called the Chef Doomy, and he's like I would say the resident Kith expert, and he was
Yeah,
telling me all this
yeah,
information about them.
friend of the show,
And
Adam.
yeah, friend of the show, good guy, wonderful guy. Um, and he was telling me all this about him, and he was, I had told him that something was on the way from Kit too, and he was very excited about it too. He had asked me, and I think at one point he was like, "How long does it take you to get home?" I was like 45 minutes away at the time. Um, so yeah, very cool. And then I think he told me, I was like, when you tweet about it, let me know. I wanna retweet it. And then I made my post. I really didn't know what to say because as cheesy as it was, I never would have expected this in a million years. Like literally the last thing I probably ever I thought it was going to be like a briefcase with like a cease and desist and like a picture of Ronnie Fieg with like two middle fingers up or something.
Right.
Not a pair of shoes.
Yeah, like you were asking me what should I say, and I was like, I don't know, man. Say whatever you think, whatever you feel.
Followed my heart. So yeah, and then you know I don't want to. I hate to say the word that it went viral, but I mean it did definitely in the space
Well, the
that
sneaker
we're
blogs
in.
picked it up. I said the same thing to you, and one of the things I said to you was I was like, I think people are going to be upset about this. Just
Oh God,
warning,
yeah, were
heads up,
they?
people are going to be upset. And then of course when sneaker blogs pick it up and it's amplified and goes all the way to like Reddit and Instagram comments, there's a Twitter has its own little bubble, and when things escape that bubble, you're going to get a lot more hate and stuff, as you've said before, when you get some viral tweets. Yeah, and so yeah, the all the blogs picked it up. The funniest part was they were digging up all your old Ronnie Fieg tweets about it and like including them in like the little carousel as well too.
That was the best part for me because there were some gems in there that I had forgotten about.
And then, well, for me, I was like, "Ah, shit! They're stealing the thunder from my podcast," because this is the kind of the outline that I had for this episode that we were going to do back in like October last year, where I was going to read some of your funnier tweets about it. But either way, it was still funny to see the alligator slam dunking with Jesus
Yeah, and then I
tweet.
get alligator print, forces from him. Like the whole. I think at one point we were like, "This is going to be great for the pod."
Yeah.
Um, it's just it's like type of. I think my wife said at one point. She's like, This is the type of stuff that only happens to you."
Did you? I always have to do this with my wife too. Is I was like, all right, I'm going to tell you a sneaker story, and then I have to like set up the characters involved, and then what happened,
Mhm.
and then who said what, and then she's like, right, like she kind of like half gets it, and yeah, same kind of thing. It's just basically says, yeah, just don't get yourself fired or whatever. um, but you got this gift. It's like a rare sample pair. Literally, his probably off his feet that he gave him to you. Has Ronnie Fieg disarmed you? Is this gonna change how you think about Ronnie Fieg and Kith?
So the shoes didn't beep and didn't appear to have like a Bluetooth signal emitting from them. So no, not no. I don't think
EMP.
it'll. I don't think it's gonna disarm me. I think that like my takeaway from the whole thing was that the guy can laugh at himself. He can take a joke, and that's pretty cool. Because like I think I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, people are they're so uptight, and it's like if this guy that is probably swamped in meetings and all these he's hooked up to that machine man where he's got to think about these collabs, and he unhooked himself up from his machine for 5 minutes to handwrite me a note and ship these off. um that's pretty cool, but no, it's not going to disarm me. I'm not going to just suddenly be like, oh man, this upcoming Kith Club's pretty cool, might check it out. No, I'll probably still try to
And like
get the
like
easy dunk on.
some of the tweets, like I probably didn't read some of them, the meaner ones, but they were like You will not see the kingdom of heaven, Ronnie Fieg, right? Like things like that. They were not just like, oh, your clap sucks, then your snap, crackle, and pop T-shirt it blows or whatever. It was like there's many of the word. One of them include the word heaven in them. If you just search on your profile.
Oh yeah, that was like the most recent trope, but I was like, Ronnie Fieg, you will not be seeing heaven. Hell awaits you for releasing this collab. And, the craziest thing was trying to explain to my wife what this meant. I was like, she was like, so what do you mean? She knows who Ronnie Fieg is. My son actually, my wife buys my son kids clothes. We like their clothes.
But she's
We
got a
think
higher
it's
loyalty points than you do. Then
she actually buys and doesn't sign in. But then I'm like, I could be maybe winning raffles. To this date, I don't think I've ever won a single raffle through Kith for something I wanted. But anyway, so she was like, why would he send you something if you're hating on him? And then at one point, I think the takeaway from her was like, I hope this teaches you to be nicer. I was like, well, being nice didn't get me the shoes.
you got
I've
to
learned
double
nothing.
down, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna say all kinds of crazy things now to everyone.
It's like the George
Uh,
Costanza opposite episode. He's got to say the opposite of what he really thinks.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
as we talked about a little bit, like people were upset that you got these sneakers as well too. Did you get it in the replies for your tweet, or was it mostly on like these, the sneaker news comments and stuff like that?
Oh man, it was everywhere. I think today I saw a TikTok about it, right? And then I saw like an Instagram reel about it. But no, it's like you had the comments from like you would the the accursed side of sneaker Twitter, the Lord Voldemorts that you can't talk about them. But anyways,
The
it
sneaker
was like
access.
yeah, the sneaker cabal that we can't talk about. No, they were it was about like bad behavior is being rewarded. This is terrible. I can't believe they did this. Fuck this guy. Yeah, this guy stinks. I can't believe this would happen. What about the loyal fans?
Sends a
Uh,
horrible message.
yeah, it sends a horrible message. What about the loyalists? I was like, the loyalists are still going to keep buying Kith. And
Right.
it's like, at the end of the day, this was, it was a pretty smart, marketing, I think
And
move. Whether it
that's what I
been
was
a kind gesture or marketing, whatever, it's like it got everywhere.
And like I said, in this casino capitalism society we're in, saying something is like great marketing or this is awesome marketing is like the highest compliment you can give something, right?
Mhm.
And so that's why like people were either breaking it down to like this is bad for the loyal fans and people with the loyalty points because they're not going to get anything. But on the other hand, this is great marketing. So what do you get? So like when we were talking about it, I was like, Ronnie Fieg got what he wanted out of it. He got you to like open the box and post it, and he's gonna move on. And it showed that he's got a sense of humor, and he's gonna like, probably forget about it. But yeah, I see why people were upset. The funniest one was the Reddit one that said it's not kith and kin anymore; it's enemies and haters. It's like, you
Yeah.
got one Reddit commenter.
Oh yeah, Reddit was pretty mad. I think, it was interesting because, there was also a lot of positive, like a ton, like people that have been following me for a while and, are, in tune to the bit. It's hilarious, right? If you're familiar with the whole thing, it's hilarious. It's like who would have ever seen this coming?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's where like I appreciate it as like as a sneaker cultural moment kind of thing. It was fun,
mhm.
right? Like it was no, there's no and if someone can like shows that they have a sense of humor, they're not like super aggro or pissed off about criticism or whatever. They can take criticism and just continue on. I think that's what, like I said, Ronnie gets to show that he can take criticism and he's got a sense of humor and he's gonna move on, right? And then everyone else are the people who are like upset about it.
Yeah, because I don't know, I could be wrong, but is this like this is almost like an interaction with sneaker Twitter in a sense. We have a lot of like other people like, um J Tips and John Geiger and Joe Freshgoods, they're pretty active when it comes to sneaker Twitter. So I didn't ever expect for Ronnie Fieg to be, I guess, paying attention. It's like he's never replied to anything that I've said. So it was cool in that sense. And it's, someone recently tweeted that like, these big brands are watching. They have people that, are in spaces and whatever. And it was cool. It was a cool funny moment. It's like the world continues to spin, and it just, I guess, validated for me that like like I said, I'm not gonna quit being a hater. I'm gonna keep doing all my bad habits are absolutely gonna stay.
Right.
Um, they have to.
No lesson was learned
No, Doug cannot
from
be
this.
bought with friends and family sneakers
Honestly, the
unless I really
lesson,
really like them.
yeah, and honestly, the lesson from this was like you can have fun on Twitter. You don't have to be in like this marketing scheme, this content creator like world and brand deal world. You could just fuck around, make jokes, entertain yourself, entertain your friends, and that's how the internet used to be. And it's not as much as anymore. And so I think that's why I appreciated it so much, because it was funny. It was hilarious. Seeing the replies was funny and hilarious. I guess that's another question I was going to ask. Are you going to sell these pairs?
What do you think?
I think you should sell them. I'd be like, what other big hater move is there than that? It's like he got what he wanted out of it. He got like the post that you posted and the sneaker blogs tweeting about it. Case closed. Transaction done on his end. Now you could just secretly sell it for 5 grand, 10 grand, whoever's pinned, whatever.
Currently on my feet with a pair of joggers right now, so I'm not going to be selling them. Um, uh, you know, mm, you know, yeah, probably. But I think one more thing that I thought was really interesting about this whole thing was the conversation that came up about there's been talks about seating and stuff like that, and I didn't bring this up, but there was a lot of people that were like, well, what now? If you're basically wanting to be part of these seating campaigns and stuff, and you're groveling and you're basically glazing, for lack of better terms, and then this shows it was like the anti-glaze.
Right.
What now? And there's still, and even today, to this day, people were going on Union, and they were like, fuck you, Chris Gibbs. I hate this. I hate this. Size 11 men's, by the way.
They like they're not committed to the bit. You have to be like an original internet kind of poster type of personality to be committed to bits these days, right? People are committed to like I'm a content creator. I need a brand deal, whatever bullshit. And so, a random reply saying, screw you, Chris Gibbs, not going to do it. You have to consistently tell Chris Gibbs that he's not seeing the kingdom of heaven for
Well,
a long time,
well,
right?
after this, Ronnie Fieg, if you're listening to this, or the shoes behind me are listening to this, you might see the kingdom of heaven. I think this got you closer.
Oh, he's there. He got
Yeah,
everything out of this. Then he
yeah.
got the
He,
blogs post about it. He gets to go to heaven now.
send me more. If you send me more, I mean, it's like almost like a sure shot. I'll put
Yeah.
in, I'll put in a word for you. But yeah, no, if you want to use the Doug approach to this, I saw a tweet from 2018, so you got years to get to this moment.
Right.
Got a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah,
There's
that's a lot of hating. Hating is
that's a lot of
finally being
hating.
yeah, hating is
Yeah,
being rewarded. Like I said, he got what he wanted out of it, and I assume he's like happy with how everything went.
yeah. Everybody wins. Great success.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap things up here. But one thing I wanted to talk about: we both lost a friend of ours, Dan McQuade, writer for Defector and previously at Deadspin as well too. And uh, Dan was a guy who loved sneakers as well too. He had a lot of things that he loved and was curious about, and you know, wrote about the things that he liked. And you knew him, and I knew him in terms of this world of sneakers. And he reached out to both of us and said some kind things. So what are your thoughts on DHM, DMAC, Dan McQuade?
So I knew Dan as DMAC after being in SIF's, a Discord group, for a little while, and I got to kind of know Dan as like the funny person that he was, and and then got acquainted with his writing, and he loves sneakers, and all the sneaker adjacent stuff, and he's just a funny guy, and like you said, it's so we would talk about stuff, and at one point he said something to effect after he followed me. He was like, I appreciate that you say what you think, and I appreciate the humor, right? And that was pretty cool to me.
Yeah,
And I think I had told you when he had passed that I was like, that was something that I still think about because um, Dan had become a father not too long ago, and
yeah,
so one of the things that I reached out to him about was actually your tip that you told me when I become a dad, which was gotta smell that baby's head. It's it's a
The
set
only
and it goes away
it's the only
and then
tip
it's
I ever
gone.
give any new parent.
Yeah, so I think I told him that, and I told him that, and I didn't realize that you were acquainted with him. So then when you told me that you had told him that too, I was like, oh, this is great. But yeah, wonderful guy. Um, yeah, it's a huge bummer. Um,
It's like devastated when I read it. Like we had known that he was going through cancer, and where everyone was like hopeful about what the outcome could it be, and hopefully it's something you can live with. There's like a positive outlook on it, but then just to be scrolling Twitter one day and like just to see it, like I was just gutted, and we have a similar experience with him in terms of like he reached out to me. He said that he liked my tweets and stuff. He liked the podcast. He would buy socks. He would tag me on Instagram whenever he wore the socks, things like that. And when I saw the news too, in my culture, like there's a word called upso, so that you go when somebody you go mourn at the family's house when someone's passed, and it's like the purpose of it is like the burden of grief should not be carried alone, right? Like everyone should be there to lift the load a little bit as they could. And then knowing someone just from online, it's like there's no house for me to go to, right? The house is in Philadelphia. Um, and so I remember I was like just checking Twitter and reading through Twitter and seeing tweets, and I was messaging. I didn't even have the heart to like message you because I knew him as well too. Because I was just kind of more stunned than anything. Um, and so yeah, so that was the kind of thing. It was like he was like just a really good guy, and he reached out to people who made things that he liked, right? I
yeah,
think that's what we have in common with him, and like, and then just being young fathers, like all of us are, and he was, and yeah, it was really, I don't know, just so gutted. And there's a Defector podcast. Drew McGarry did a podcast about him and his life as well too, and they were talking about the stages of grief and you're going through it. And I was like, I totally like relate to that. I was like going through this news, and I don't know about you, like I've gone through grief in the past as well too, and it's just like I was feeling all those things, and they were all like maybe I'd pushed grief far away for a while because like in the past, but now that come close again, and it's just like, oh yeah, this the old familiar sting of like handling and dealing with grief, I guess.
yeah. So my buddy Kyle actually messaged me and told me this. I think friend of the show for sure. He's on Twitter.
Yeah.
Uh, and he told me, and then I think I told him I was like, I really thank you for to letting me know, so I didn't find out about this scrolling. And going back to the scrolling, it was incredible to see the amount of people. I
Yeah.
didn't see a single negative thing
Oh, there was
about Dan. It was incredible from every single, like from Reddit to TikTok to, I mean, the Sixers game. Um,
Philadelphia Flyers, NBC, and
yeah,
um,
it was incredible.
if you like, I was name searching him, like I said, like because I didn't want to like I wanted to share the grief with some people, like so it's just eased on the family in some sort of cosmic way, I guess. Um,
Yeah.
and then you'd see people, all kinds of like small creators, people who had like Philly blogs,
Hmm.
talked about the Eagles blogs, and you check their profile, and it's like a podcast, and they got like a couple hundred followers or whatever, and it says followed by DHM, and things like that, because he reached out to people that who made things that he liked, both big and small. So yeah, you saw the
Yeah.
outpouring of support from small creators to like politicians and big J journalists as well too, right?
Yeah. I think like I generally like when it comes to grieving, I tend to just like ball up and not really do much. But like in Dan's case, it really, really messed me up, and it hit me like a train because it's like I have a 4-year-old, right?
Yeah,
And so it's like this was the very first time where it was like, oh man, Dan, he's always going to be, a father, but a young, person lost their dad, and that really threw me for a loop. I think I told
yeah.
you I was like, man, I'm having a really hard time with this.
That
And
was
then
the main thing as well too for me as well.
yeah,
Just like just his young family.
it's hard to not put yourself in that, just to think, if that was you, what happens
Right.
to your family and so forth. And then I spent hours after that just going through all my favorite articles of his, and I think Kyle the next day sent me some of his favorites, and so did you. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, rest in
And
peace, DMAC. Just wonderful human being.
yeah, rest in peace, Dan McQuade. And it's like it, and like I said, he wrote about things not from a cynical point of view, but from things that he liked,
Hmm.
and he was funny about it, and his voice
Hmm.
was alive in his writings, and I think that's what, like, like you and I get along in terms of how we are on social media and Twitter and stuff, in terms of talking about the things that we like you and pants and sneakers that you do like.
Hmm.
And then like the all this stuff that we talked about, the shitting on Kith or whatever. Some of it is a joke, like I said, no one's really harmed by it, but a lot of it is
Yeah.
just like, creating something you think is fun,
Hmm.
that other people, like-minded people, might enjoy. I hope, and that's kind of like the lesson, in terms of like one of the lessons you'll learn from people like Dan, and how he operated in terms of his persona and his writing.
Yeah, I'd like to think that Dan was having fun, you know. And it's like for me, Twitter is just it's something fun, and it's like the day that it's not fun, or I think you said earlier, like I don't have any skin in the game. I would hate for it to become a chore.
Right. Yeah,
It's
like
like
I just won't tweet that day or whatever if I'm like when we're busy in real life, right?
yeah, I think you've told me, I think you've made the joke before where it's like I know that something is something you might be going through something if you're not tweeting unhinged things.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I haven't
I
seen a
think there was one I
pants
had the
tweet
flu.
in two
Yeah,
days, and I'm like, something's off,
what's
right?
going on? It's like, oh my bad, I've had the flu
Yeah,
or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's like have fun. Yeah, I don't want to sound corny, but like be yourself, I guess.
yeah. Go be yourself. Go put it on wax. Go make something that you like, and have your voice heard. Like, people can literally listen to like old podcasts and stuff that I've done, and you hear my voice, right? Like that was like, I was like we were saying, we were reading Dan's old articles, and you can literally like hear his voice and how he
Mhm.
writes and his point of view, and like he's alive while you're reading that, and it was a great feeling. So,
Yeah.
um, didn't want to end on a sad note, but both of us, like I said, he loved sneakers. He loved, like, I remember he really loved like the Prestos. I got to get those Prestos now. um, but I did, because he had a lot of interest in Philly Eagles bootleg T-shirts, sneakers, and like I said, the terms of like who he like interacted with in the sneaker community wasn't very wide, but those of us who did really truly appreciated him.
Yeah, it's like I think I told you one time I sold them a bunch of Noah, right? And it's, there was a time where I was, friends and family, so I got a lot of Noah. And it wasn't my size, but it was his size. And so it was awesome because of course, nobody but Dan would be like, "Oh, I'm at a charity event or run." He was always at some kind of event that was for the greater good. And it was awesome to see him. He'd be like, "Hey, I'm wearing the hoodie you sold me," and stuff like that. So, like I said, he was into all the funny little things he was into, and he was into sneakers, and it's like it was cool to have cross paths with him. And I'm very thankful that I did, even if it was um, limited in interaction, I guess. But it definitely brightened my life having cross paths with him.
Yep. Rest in peace, Dan. All right, Doug. Thank you for your time. Thank you for doing the podcast. We'll get you back on. We didn't get into a lot of your other interests. We didn't talk about pants that much. So, you're a friend of the show. You can be a recurring guest. We'll have you on again in the future. All right.
Yep. Thank you for having me. I'm pretty sad that my monologue got cut. I had 3.5
I
hours of
told
prep
you.
for nothing.
I told you we can't do 3.5 hours on Ronnie Bike. All right.
Thanks
See you later.
again.
Yeah. Go
Bye
fuck
bye.
yourself. Okay, we are back with an epilogue about what happened with the Kith Air Force One sneakers. Welcome, Doug. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. It's going
Okay,
pretty
so what
well.
happened since we last talked?
The world ended, and by the world I mean sneaker Twitter.
The world did not end.
So I sold, so I sold the shoes, right? First and foremost, the shoes were sold. The shoes were sold middleman through Jorge Sales, and when he got the shoes, he posted them and said, "Oh, Ronnie Fieg sent me another pair of shoes. That's crazy. The method worked of hating, right? I don't fault Jorge in any sense. He runs a business. Um,
So just cut back a bit. So,
sure.
uh, when we had talked, like you had kind of were leaning towards selling them, right? Even when we recorded, we talked about that. Could you talk about why you were selling the sneakers?
So at first, I didn't know what to do with the shoes. It was one of those things where I don't know what to do with these. Like, what do I do with my hands? Um, and in the middle, of all this, Horehead had hit me up first and had mentioned, "Hey, if you ever want to move these, let me know." Didn't really think too much about it. Um, and then, I had the situation with, a family member, and it was one of those things where I was messaging Horehead. He was telling me, "Hey, this is the number I can get you. Please let me know because I need to know, let the buyer know regardless. Hey, he doesn't want to hold them." I said, "I'm not really sure." Not too long after, my mom called. She told me about the situation, and it was kind of one of those things where I was like, these can sit in my office for forever. I don't think I had any intention of ever wearing them. Or they can do a lot more good by getting rid of them and getting that money to my family.
Could you
So I made
talk a
that
little bit about?
decision.
Sorry, could you talk a little bit more about exactly why? Because I know you wrote a tweet about this, but audio listeners might not have caught up with everything. And this was the part that was not really supposed to go public, but then you kind of did have to force to tweet it. So that's why I'm asking if you could, you know, like give the a short version of why.
So the why, and like you said, this was something that I had told you prior to, right? On when we recorded previously, was that I had a family member who was unfortunately deported. And I mean, when you are deported and you are you are processed as a criminal, you have your assets seized. Um, she had been in the States and she was pretty much a child, right? So going back to Mexico is like going back to an alien, land for her.
Just complete bullshit.
Yeah, it's like she's there and she's home, but she's not home. She's got her daughters up here still. We're navigating all that. This is my mom's sister, by the way, right? So, anyways, we had all gathered money, and we were in the process of helping her through this process, since months back. But like I said, when Horehead gave me this number, it became something that for me, not necessarily life changing. For her, absolutely. Let's add it on to this. Let's get this ball moving. And Horehead was incredibly quick in having this whole process expedited, and it was incredibly professional. And I told him the situation, and I got paid, and that way my aunt got paid. And
So in one like the ideal timeline, I guess, would have been you make the sale, that's all done, and it's never posted about ever again, right? The shoes are never seen again unless the final buyer posts them one day. But then on that Monday is when Whorehead decides to tweet about it, and like we talked about, he's a salesman. We get it. I'm not gonna I understand why he tweeted about it, because that's what salesmen do, right?
yeah, no, in a perfect, like, if I had been able to have things go how I wanted, situation arises, I'm able to help. Forehead expedites, the whole situation. They get to him, they go to the buyer. Maybe the final buyer brings it up, like you said, and then that's it, right? And then the discourse ends at that, and it's like realistically, this just gets forgotten, goes completely away. It's still maybe why did he get these shoes, right? But then the conversation shifted to why did he sell these shoes, and
Right.
that's when I made my post. Something that
Yeah.
I never really intended to be, brought
So
into the
j-
public space.
a little in between there. Eventually, people kind of figured out, hey, this is most likely the same pair. And then a couple blogs picked it up, like Modern Notoriety and the one other one. And then I think Ronnie Fieg himself, I guess, DM'd with Modern Notoriety and said, I did not send Whorehead a second pair, because Whorehead in his tweet had said that basically, oh look, Ronnie sent me a pair as well too. That's how he framed it in his tweet. So that's why there was that little confusion. Um, and then you were forced to kind of go public with your story, your private family story you had no intention of actually sharing, right?
Yeah, no, I like my page as a whole is
I think there's like a running joke where it's like I have one sincere post a month, right? I don't try to bring my personal life into my page at all, right? So yeah, it got to the point where it was like, hold on a second, I wanted to specify I was involved with all the, I want to say the theater once the shoes left my hands, and like you said previously, Horhead, he's doing what he does. He runs a business. I get it. It's promotion, right? Um, why not help and then also double dip by promoting yourself with a post or whatever? I get it. But yeah, I made my post and then it blew up from there, and I received a lot of support, a lot of non-support. It doesn't matter, right? I really am thankful to people that did reach out. There were people that reached out and were like, "Can I do anything? Can I send any money to help?"
Yeah,
Incredibly
people.
grateful for that.
Yeah,
Incredibly grateful
people
for that.
are awesome in the community. Like if I get it all the time too, with just people reaching out and saying nice things, and they might not always be people who vocal on the timeline, but like they'll be in the DMs and stuff and saying very nice things.
Yeah, like just going back, I was thinking about just what I just said, that people reaching out and offering to send me money, which for the record, I didn't accept. Right? It threw me away, and it was like one of those things where it's like I couldn't process that, because it's like, oh man, that just threw me off. Throughout everything that had happened, that was something that I don't think I'd even talked to you about that until just now. People offering to help
Oh, man, touch the
was
brother's
incredible.
heart, huh?
Hey, I don't want to get too sappy on here, but yeah, no, it was incredible.
Okay, yeah, and that's when we were talking in DMs, in messages and stuff too. I was like, don't worry about it. This blowback will go away. There's All Star Weekend coming up, but um, Twitter is how it is. There's a certain section of Twitter that likes to, like I say, my words, like to think that they're the sneaker sheriffs about like how and what people can say, whose name they can mention, who should get what seeded sneaker as well too, and so all this blowback was happening, I guess, towards you, and I was just saying, "Oh, noise. Don't worry about it." It's just the usual suspects making noise about seeded sneakers. It's the same topic that comes up over and over again. But like, was it really affecting you? Where like, I don't know, you were in the mud, like reading the replies, in the replies, responding to all these people, right? So how was it for you, the blowback that you were getting on Twitter at least?
So it was like one of those things where it's like, I don't want to say it, I poured my heart out, and that I posted this, and like it's something that I didn't want to talk about, and it still came down to, I'm not happy that you got these shoes, but I'm not willing, or I guess, I don't know what's the word. I'm not willing to say, hey, I have a problem with you, and no matter what you would have done with these shoes, I would have, subtweeted you or whatever. And I think that's what it came down with. And it really did irk me to a certain point where, usually this stuff kind of just, it's not that big a deal. But yeah, it did bother me. And so it's like, I don't know. It's like if people are gonna, subtweet and say how they feel, it's like I might as well say how I feel.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of sentiment about like um, someone more deserving should have gotten this, right? Like no one said those words exactly, but it's like, what is what are we talking about here, right? Like this is what I meant about sneaker sheriffs. We are the ones who should decide who and what people think who should get sneakers, and it's just like the world does not work like that. These are just like Twitter warlords with their little fiefdom, and they got nothing else. And I was like, don't worry about it. It'll all blow over. All Star Weekend promos will be here, and that's all people will be talking about soon enough.
Mhm. But yeah, it's like there was through this there was this big misconception that, like, at one point someone said that you literally begged for these shoes and now you're selling them, and that threw me for a loop, because it's like, I didn't ask for these. It's like, oh man, I got something I didn't ask for sent to me as a surprise. I thought it was funny. I thought I intended to keep them, really. and then we are where we are now. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
do I regret getting rid of them or receiving them? No, I think that everything happens for a purpose, and in this weird sense, it's like I got to be grateful to Ronnie Fieg for helping my family whenever they needed the most help, and he had no clue. For him, it was probably just like a gimmick or something they did that he saw one of my tweets and, oh, this guy's a jackass. Kill him with kindness. Here you go.
Yeah, like at one point you were saying like, I wonder what Ronnie Feig's thinking, and I was like, man, he's Ronnie Feig. He was probably done with it the moment he sent it, the moment he posted it, and he's on till like All Star Weekend doing the KD activation or whatever, right? Um, and when like Modern Notoriety or something posts something and it makes it think that this is going to be a public a drop or something, yeah, okay, I could see understand why he got involved then. But overall, this, in my opinion, was a net good. We got like a moment on Twitter, on like a sneaker cultural moment, right? And people were talking about like marketing and stuff as we talked about. Whatever, go down the well of Substack writing and talking about marketing and shit like that. But it was a fun moment. Um, your family member got helped out in a moment of need, and like when it comes to charity, like that moment, that first week when you really need it, the help is like the most important. So I'm happy for you. I'm happy for your family. The blowback will like dissipate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's like, I guess it's like I'm not really too worried about the blowback, in a sense, because it's like people do this all the time. They get something that's friends and family, right? And they sell it. It's how you see. It's how everyone that has a certain net worth has a pair of friends and family. Travis Scott, Jordan, somethings, right? But this was different in a sense that, like you said, it was like a fun blip, fun moment, and it kind of just turned into something not so fun and not a fun moment, over something that really didn't concern anyone. It's like you said, you have sneaker sheriff saying it should have been this, it should have been, you should have done this with them, and it's like, sucks to suck. You
Yeah,
didn't get the shoes. I
like
don't I can't I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, yeah. Like don't worry about Twitter warlords. Like we are active fathers. We got real things to do. Some people, all they got to do is like worry about who does what on sneaker Twitter, and it's like, give me a break, get a life.
Yeah, it's like, I think, it's like, you and I have the luxury of walking through our front door and, being greeted by, our wonderful children, our spouses, and, having a loving family tends to fix a lot of these things going on. And, I guess to anyone that's wondering, oh man, how could I be part of this, the Doug method? And, you got to get those Kith points up, and then maybe you can get a pair.
Yeah. All right, Doug. Thank you, active father Doug, my friend. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for coming on to do this epilogue. I hope your family's good. Don't worry about sneaker Twitter and all that kind of stuff. It's a net positive, and I wish you the best. I wish you and your family the best.
Thank you, active father. Um, Sock, I also wish you and your family the best. And, once again, from one active father to another, thank you so much. I appreciate it.